All right, so are you ready to unlock the secrets of the American accent with us today?
Sounds exciting.
Well, you're not alone in wanting to master it. I have a friend, Annika, from Mumbai, who had the same goal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she told me that mastering the American accent wasn't about completely changing how she sounded or anything. It was about feeling more confident and being heard,
Mm.
especially at work.
That makes sense. I've heard that from others too.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
learning a new power move or something.
I like that. And actually, there's research that shows people who speak with clear accents are often seen as more competent, especially in professional settings.
Interesting. So it's not just about like sounding different. There are actual benefits.
Exactly.
Okay, so confidence boost, check. But where do we even begin with this whole American accent thing?
Oh,
It can feel overwhelming. Like, where do you even start? It's like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
you're exactly right. You need a solid foundation, and that foundation is built on specific sounds.
So no shaky foundations for us, right?
Definitely not. When it comes to the American accent, you really can't miss those key sounds. Otherwise, the whole thing just crumbles.
Got it. So what's the first building block we should focus on?
The R sound. Unlike some other English accents, Americans pronounce that R sound in every word.
So no dropping the R's like our friends across the pond.
Nope. And the trick to nailing the American R is all about tongue placement.
Okay, I'm listening.
Try gently curling your tongue back in your mouth, but stop just before you touch the roof of your mouth, almost like you're about to gargle.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
To make sure you're doing it right, try saying the word burger. If it sounds more like bagoo, you need to push that tongue back further.
Like burger.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, burger. I think I'm getting it. But what about when the R is in the middle of a word, like car or water?
That's a great question. You still want to keep that same strong R sound, even when it's in the middle of the word.
Car, water.
Perfect. You're getting it.
This is really interesting. It's amazing how just that one sound can make such a big difference.
Right. It's the foundation.
Okay, what's next on our accent construction project?
Let's tame the T. And this one has a little twist.
Ooh, a twist. I love a good twist. Tell me more.
So in American English, the T sound sometimes turns into a soft D, especially in the middle of words. It's called the flap T.
Flap T. That sounds more like a dance move than a pronunciation rule.
It kind of is. Think of the word butter. Americans usually say it more like butter. Or city, which becomes city.
Okay, so less TikTok and more of a tap dance with the T.
You got it. Ready to give it a try? Repeat after me.
Yeah.
The little bottle of water settled in the gutter.
The little bottle of water settled in the gutter.
Perfect. See how that smooths out the sentence?
Yeah, it's like giving the T a little bit of swagger.
Uh-huh. I like that. Little T swagger. Now, how are you feeling about tackling the infamous TH sound?
Bring it on. I know this one can be a bit tricky, but I'm up for the challenge.
Awesome. First, let's get rid of that myth that you need to stick your tongue way out to make the TH sound.
No snake impressions needed.
Not at all. Just a gentle touch is all you need. Think about gently biting the tip of your tongue and letting a little air escape. Try it with the word think.
Think. Okay, yeah, I can feel the air.
Exactly. It's a small movement, but makes a big difference.
Right. I've definitely heard people over-exaggerate it before.
And don't forget, there are actually two TH sounds. There's the voiced TH, like this or there, where your vocal cords vibrate. And then there's the unvoiced TH, like in think or thumb, where your vocal cords are relaxed.
So two different sounds, two different ways of using your voice. Got it.
Exactly. And a good way to practice both is to try this phrase. They thought those things were thrilling.
They thought those things were thrilling. Okay, I can hear the difference now, feeling much more confident about consonants. But vowels, those are tricky territory.
Ah, yes. Vowels can be tricky. They can sound so different depending on the accent and even the region.
Exactly. So what's the key to mastering American vowels?
It's all about paying attention to the subtle shifts in pronunciation. For example, think about caught and caught. The O sounds are similar, but in American English, caught has a shorter O sound, while caught is longer, like O.
Caught versus caught.
Yeah,
Okay, I can hear the difference. So it's like caught is a quick, sharp sound, and caught is more drawn out.
exactly. Another good example is bat versus butt.
Right. Bat and butt. Those small vowel changes can completely change the word.
Exactly. How about we try a little phrase to practice? Repeat after me. The bat flew but got caught in the cod.
The bat flew but got caught in the cot. Okay, yeah. I can hear how those subtle differences really make the words clearer. I feel like we've laid a pretty solid foundation with consonants and vowels, but I know there's more to an accent than individual sounds, right? It's like building a house. We've got the frame, but now we need to bring it to life.
You're exactly right. It's time to move on to the rhythm section of the American accent. Think of it like jazz music. It's all about the flow.
I love that analogy. Jazz is all about feeling the rhythm, the groove. So how do we bring that jazz rhythm into the American accent?
It's all about set and stress. We emphasize content words like nouns and verbs. And the function words, the little words like articles and prepositions, kind of fade into the background.
So it's like some words get the spotlight and others are the backup singers.
Exactly. Think about this phrase. She wants to eat a burger. Notice how certain words naturally have more emphasis.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Those key words are like the lead singer carrying the melody of the sentence.
I like that, the lead singer of the sentence. Want to try a little rhythm drill? I'll say a sentence and you can clap along on the stressed words. Ready? I need to finish the report by Friday.
I clap need, clap finish, clap report, clap Friday.
You got it. You're a natural.
I can hear how the rhythm changes the entire feel of the sentence. It adds a sort of natural flow, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it helps get the meaning across more clearly. Now, here's where things get a little more complex. Americans link words together when we speak, kind of like we're playing connect the dots with our words.
So it's not about pronouncing each word individually then.
Not exactly. It's more fluid than that. We call it linking and reductions. Think about how what's up becomes what's up, or did you eat becomes jeet.
Oh, okay. I hear that all the time. It's like the words are doing a little dance and blending together.
Got it. That's linking and reduction, and it's a big part of what gives American English that smooth flow.
Okay, let's try some linking. How about the phrase, I'm going to the store?
Perfect. Now gradually speed it up, linking those words together until it becomes more like, I'm going to get a store.
I'm going to the store. I'm going to the store. I'm going to get a store. Wow, that's actually pretty fun. I can definitely hear how it sounds smoother and less choppy.
Exactly. And speaking of smoothness, there's one more ingredient we need to add to bring the American accent to life.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. What's this final touch?
It's the secret weapon to sound more engaging and less robotic. Melody and intonation.
Melody and intonation, it sounds so musical.
It is. Our voices naturally rise and fall when we speak, and that creates a kind of melody. And in American English, that intonation plays a huge role in how we communicate meaning and emotion.
So it's not just what we say, but how we say it. Like our voice is adding its own punctuation marks to our speech.
You got it. Think about how our voices tend to go up at the end of a question. Like when you say, you're coming.
Yeah, you're coming. Like I'm asking if you're actually going to come or not.
Exactly. But when you're making a statement, your voice usually goes down at the end.
Like I'm coming.
Right, I'm coming. It's like our voice is adding those question marks and periods.
That's a great way to think about it. And, you know, intonation can even change the meaning of a single word, like really.
I never thought about that. So how would really sound different with intonation? Well, if you're surprised, your voice might go up at the end. Really? But if you're skeptical, it might go down, then up. Really? And if you're just bored, your voice would probably stay flat. Really?
Wow. Yeah, I can definitely hear how intonation can make really sound completely different.
It's amazing, right? It adds so much nuance to what we're saying.
It's like a secret code we all use without even realizing it.
Exactly. It's fascinating how much we communicate just through our tone of voice.
Okay, so we've got this secret code of intonation. But I'm also thinking about how different people have different speaking styles. You know, some people are really animated when they talk and others are more laid back. Does that factor into the American accent, too?
It absolutely does. Just like with intonation, our overall emotional tone can color the way we speak. Think about someone like Conan O'Brien. He uses those big, exaggerated tones and pauses for comedic effect.
Oh, yeah. He's got that very distinct way of speaking.
Right. And then compare that to a news anchor like Anderson Cooper, whose tone is usually pretty neutral and steady.
So two very different styles, but both using the American accent. They're like playing the same instrument, but creating different kinds of music.
I love that analogy. It shows how flexible the American accent is. There's definitely room for personality and individuality.
That's really encouraging. So it's not about erasing your personality or trying to sound like someone you're not.
Exactly. It's about finding your own voice within the American accent.
You know, this reminds me of Anika again. When she started mastering the American R, she said she noticed people responding to her differently, especially at work.
That's great to hear.
It was like that one sound change gave her a boost of confidence and helped her get her ideas across more clearly.
It's amazing how those subtle shifts can have such a big impact.
Absolutely. It sounds like she really found that sweet spot between clarity and staying true to herself.
She did.
Mm.
And, a lot of people worry about overdoing the accent. But the goal is not to sound like you're putting on a show. It's about finding what feels natural and authentic for you.
That makes sense. But I think a lot of us get caught up in our heads trying to get it perfect.
I totally get that. It's
Yeah.
easy to overthink it. But remember, language is all about connection. It's about expressing yourself genuinely.
It's about the heart behind the words. So how do we move from textbook sounds to actually using the American accent in real life?
Well, one of the most effective techniques is called shadowing.
Shadowing. What is that?
It's pretty simple. You pick a short clip from a TV show or a movie, something with clear American accents. Friends or The Office are good examples. And you listen closely to how the actors are speaking. Pay attention to their rhythm, intonation, pronunciation, all of it.
So I'm kind of becoming an accent detective, listening for all the clues.
Exactly. You're trying to pick up on those subtle nuances that make the accent sound so natural. Then you repeat the clip right after trying to match the actor's pace and tone.
So I'm like a vocal chameleon blending in with their voice.
Yes. It's like stepping into their shoes and borrowing their voice for a while. And the more you practice shadowing, the more those American accent patterns will start to feel natural to you.
So it's about really feeling the rhythm, the music of the accent, not just memorizing rules.
You got it. And when Anika started shadowing, she chose Rachel from Friends.
Oh, I love Rachel.
She loved Rachel's personality and the way she spoke.
Yeah.
It made the practice feel fun and engaging for her.
That's awesome. It's like finding those voices that you connect with and using them as your accent guides.
Exactly. Now, while shadowing is a great technique, immersing yourself in American media can help a lot too. Podcasts, movies, TV shows, anything that exposes you to those natural rhythms and patterns.
So it's like creating a soundtrack for my accent journey. What are some of your favorite things to recommend?
Well, for a mix of storytelling and different American voices, I always recommend This American Life. It's a classic podcast for a reason.
This American Life.
Oh.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And if you're interested in current events, The Daily is great. They have really clear and neutral accents.
I've heard of that one. What about movies?
Forrest Gump is a classic if you want to hear a Southern accent. And The Social Network is a good example of more neutral American speech.
Forrest Gump. I love that movie. And what about something a little more modern?
You could try a show like Ted Lasso or Modern Family. They both have a good mix of American accents.
Okay, great suggestions.
Ugh.
It's like I'm building a playlist for my ears to get used to all the different flavors of the American accent.
I like that. A playlist for your ears.
Yeah.
But with all this practice, how do you know when you've arrived at the American accent?
Yeah, is there like a finish line?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
And it's important to remember that learning an accent is a journey, not a destination.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
There's no point where you suddenly arrive. It's more about making progress, gradually feeling more comfortable and confident.
So it's about the process, the ups and downs along the way.
Exactly. And remember, progress isn't always linear. Some days will feel easier than others. The key is to be patient with yourself and not get discouraged if you hit a plateau.
So it's just like learning any new skill. It takes time and dedication, and those oops moments are part of the process.
You got it. And a lot of times those oops moments are where the real learning happens.
They can be frustrating, but you're right, you learn a lot from them. Okay, so patience and persistence are key. But I'm also wondering about feedback. How do you know if you're on the right track? Do you need to be surrounded by Americans 24/7 to get feedback?
Being immersed in the environment definitely helps. But it's not the only way to get feedback. One simple technique is to record yourself speaking once a week. Then listen back and pay attention to what you hear. You might be surprised by how much you're improving without even realizing it.
That's a great tip. It's like having your own personal accent coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And there are also some great apps out there that can give you instant feedback on your pronunciation. Elsa Speak is one that I recommend. It uses AI to analyze your speech and pinpoint areas you can work on.
Wow, technology is amazing. But I also think there's something powerful about connecting with real people when you're learning something like an accent. Are there any online communities where people can support each other on their accent journeys?
Absolutely. One I always recommend is the subreddit Our Judge My Accent. People from all over the world post recordings of themselves speaking, and then others give feedback and encouragement.
That's such a cool idea. It's like having a global network of accent buddies.
Exactly. And if you're looking for more personalized help, you can always hire a tutor on a platform like italki. There are lots of experienced language coaches who specialize in American accent training.
So it's like having a personal trainer for your voice?
Precisely. They can give you tailored feedback and help you work on those specific sounds or areas where you're struggling.
Okay, so we've talked about techniques, resources, feedback. It's a lot to take in. What advice would you give to our listener who might be feeling a little overwhelmed right now?
I would say, don't try to do everything at once. Start by picking one or two things that resonate with you and focus on those. Maybe you're drawn to the rhythm of American English, or maybe you're fascinated by intonation. Just start there. Practice consistently, and then gradually add in other elements as you go.
So it's like building a house. You wouldn't try to build the roof before you have a solid foundation.
Exactly. Pick your starting point, lay that foundation, and then build from there. Remember, it's a journey, not a race. Be patient, celebrate the small wins, and don't be afraid to have fun with it.
That's great advice. Now, before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier, that fear of losing your own accent when you're trying to master the American accent.
It's a really common concern. People worry that they'll lose their identity or sound fake if they change their accent.
So how can our listener navigate that? How can they embrace the American accent without losing their own unique voice?
It's important to remember that learning a new accent isn't about replacing your own. It's about adding to what you already have. Think of it like learning a new language. You're not erasing your native language. You're just expanding your ability to communicate.
I like that. It's like adding a new color to your palette. You're not painting over your original masterpiece. You're just adding more depth and richness.
Exactly. Your original accent is part of who you are, and there's no need to erase it. In
Yeah.
fact, I think embracing your own unique voice can actually enhance your American accent. It adds a layer of authenticity and personality.
So it's not about choosing one over the other. It's about finding that harmony between the two.
Precisely. It's about finding that balance and owning your own unique way of speaking.
We've focused a lot on the technical side of things, but at the end of the day, language is about connection, right?
Absolutely. It's about building bridges between people sharing stories and experiences and understanding each other better.
So how can our listener make sure that their American accent is a tool for connection and not a barrier?
I think it comes down to intention. Why are you learning this accent? What do you want to do with it? If your goal is to connect with people, to build relationships, and to share your perspective with the world, then that intention will shine through in your voice.
It's like that saying, people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly. So focus on speaking clearly, confidently, and with kindness, and your American accent will become a natural extension of who you are.
I love that. So it's about more than just sounds. It's about the human connection, the heart behind the words.
Absolutely.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. I feel like we've really gone deep into the world of the American accent. What's one key takeaway you hope our listeners will remember?
That's a tough one. There's so much we've covered.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is to embrace the journey. Learning an accent is a process. It's full of ups and downs, challenges, and breakthroughs. So be patient with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and have fun with it.
Beautifully said. I think Anika would definitely agree with that.
I think so too.
Well, to all our listeners out there, keep practicing, keep experimenting, and keep those accents adventurous. This has been The Deep Dive, your guide to the fascinating world of language and communication. We'll see you in our next deep dive.
Until then, happy speaking.
It's funny, thinking back to Annika's story, it made me think about something else she said. She mentioned that mastering that American R, that one sound, it wasn't just about pronunciation for her. It was about being heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point.
What do you think she meant by that?
I think Anika was talking about something bigger than just sounds.
Right.
I think she was getting at how powerful language can be. It shapes how we speak, but also how other people see us, how we connect with the world around us.
That's so true. We've talked a lot about the technical stuff, the sounds, rhythm, intonation, but Anika's experience seems to go beyond that.
Right.
It's almost like she unlocked this new confidence, this new way of expressing herself.
I think that's a great way to put it. When we learn a new accent, we're not just copying sounds.
Right.
It's about broadening our ability to connect with people, to share our ideas, and stories in a way that really lands.
It's like finding your voice, in a way.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's like that R sound became a symbol of her personal growth, her empowerment.
It is powerful how a single sound can represent so much.
It reminds us that language is more than just words. It's this tool to connect with each other, to build understanding, to make our voices heard.
Well said. And it makes me think about all the different accents out there, all the unique ways people use language to express themselves.
Yeah,
It's a reminder that all that diversity is a good thing, not a bad thing.
totally. Embracing our own accents, our own unique voices, is just as important as learning new ones. It's about finding that balance where we can be clear and authentic while still being true to ourselves.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. And even if you're just starting out on your American accent journey, you already have something powerful, your own unique voice. Hold on to
Yeah.
that. Let it guide you as you try new ways of speaking.
I love that. It's like we all have these incredible our voices, and learning a new accent is like learning to play a new song.
And just like any instrument, it takes practice, patience, and a little bit of experimentation.
Right. But the rewards are so worth it. It's about opening up new possibilities, new ways to connect, to share your story, to make your voice resonate with others.
That's what it's all about.
This deep dive into the American accent has been so insightful. We've covered a lot, from the nitty-gritty details to the bigger picture of language and connection. If you could pick one thing for our listener to remember, what would it be?
Hmm, that's a tough one. But I'd say embrace the journey. Learning an accent is a process. There are going to be ups and downs, challenges, breakthroughs. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate those little wins, and don't stop exploring the power of your voice.
Beautifully said. And to all our listeners, keep practicing, keep experimenting, and keep those accents adventurous. This has been The Deep Dive, your guide to the fascinating world of language and communication. We'll catch you in our next deep dive.
Until then, happy speaking.